You look like the creature from the Black Lagoon, and you.
You're on, man.
Can you see how many glasses he's got on? Thank you to Alon Treves from Aussie Opticals for all these glasses that we're giving away. First letter tonight, when we eventually get to the show, is the commercial world seduces you to thinking that what you want... What's going on there? It wants to sell you. The second letter tonight is I'm going out with a new girl who to me just flaunts her great double Ds whenever she can. I don't know why that's a problem. And the third letter tonight is we're totally without the level of science and technology, thanks guys, needed to continue with you. You're not interested in this letter, are you? We'll have all these letters and more. I want to go back to the double D letters more than anything. I don't know what you guys want to go back to. In about 10 seconds, more with Sweet and Sour. We'll see you then. Bye for now.
Big or small, would a miracle be nice? Our motley crew is back, churning out advice. You might even laugh a bit in the following half hour. Park your backside on the couch, cause baby it's time for Sweet and Sour. Right here on Sweet and Sour.
Pour some sugar on there, baby.
It's time for Sweet and Sour.
How's about some chili?
Woohoo! Relax, it's all good. I'm excited. Good evening, everyone. Lovely to have your company. Welcome to Sweet and Sour. Gary Mitchell with you for another half an hour. First up tonight on the panel, hello, Mr. Maccora.
Hi, Gary. How are you?
Welcome back, sir. How's retirement?
Oh, it's wonderful.
Why?
Ask me what I did yesterday.
What did you do yesterday? I know what you did yesterday. What did you do
Nothing.
yesterday? Why?
I'm going to do more of it today because I didn't finish yesterday.
You're enjoying your retirement,
I love
aren't you?
it.
Oh, mate. How's your fitness?
It could be better.
It could be better?
You've
got all this time and you're not keeping fit?
Oh, no, I'm keeping fit, but I could be hitting the golf ball further. That would be really good.
How many times a week do you play golf?
Twice.
Twice a week? Not bad.
And
Welcome
occasionally a third one.
You're going to be on in a couple of weeks in our couples program as well with your lovely wife.
Oh, that would be wonderful, but...
Stay tuned for that one in a few weeks' time.
Mind my P's and Q's.
You do anyway. I've seen you on your best behaviour. Welcome, Stace.
Hello,
First
Gary.
time. How are you?
Yes, good, thanks.
How's
Great
the
to be
property
here.
market going?
Well, it's a little bit flat, so it can only go up, hopefully.
So that means it's a buyer's market.
It's a buyer's market.
So how long's this going to last?
Well, I don't know.
How long's it lasted so far?
Well, I think it's been a buyer's market for a little while now.
Has it?
Yeah, I think maybe to the end of the year at least.
Oh, really? So
I don't know. Don't quote me on that.
Shouldn't you be saying, no, it's not going to last too long, it'll be till, a couple of months and then...
But I do property management, so...
You don't care?
Well, I do care.
All right. We're not going to boom up the market tonight on this show unless Harry's got something to tell us. But first, hello, Lisa.
Hello, how are you?
Where have you been?
Normally
Normally you've been somewhere.
Nowhere lately, but I'd love to buy a house and have been looking lately, so it's great to hear that the market is still booming.
Where are you looking? Perth suburbs.
Perth suburbs,
So Perth-
quite inner city, Northbridge, Perth, West Leederville, City Beach, if I could afford the $2 million property we were talking about earlier.
Good buys in these areas?
Pretty good buys.
Oh,
Okay, all
yeah,
right.
that's
I know
right.
a great house in Wembley.
Harry, good buys?
Mount Lawley's good areas. They've got some great developers around there.
In Mount Lawley. He happens to be a developer in Mount Lawley. Oh, that's not... What's happening with the market though?
Well, interest rates didn't go up, which is great news, and we've got a lot more investors coming back into the market. And yeah, I agree.
Why?
I
Why
think
the investors coming
rents have been very good. There's been good rental returns. Got great property managers like Stacey doing great asset management. What more can I say?
Did you slip him something earlier?
No, I didn't.
Oh, so it wasn't blue-coloured or
No.
anything? No. Terrific. All right. Well, welcome to the show. Here we go. Letter number one. Dear Mitch and panel, my grandfather was always a bit of a cynic. He never trusted anyone who had profit as a motive. 10 years after he's passed on, I'm starting to think he may have been spot on. He always said the profit motive stands out like a dog's you-know-whats, but you may not want to see it because the commercial world seduces you to thinking that what you want is what it has to sell you. The commercial world sucks us all in and blinds us. I'm quickly realising that not a single company is interested in my well-being at all. Every company just wants profits. Newspapers don't provide factual information. They provide a vehicle for the shareholders to profit by selling catchy news angles. TV stations also provide nothing more than a vehicle for their profiting shareholders by selling you the cheapest visual stimulants they can. This is a long letter. Take, for example, the total crap they title entertainment, like cheap reality shows and other rubbish, for example, that 20 to 1 show, which is just old film clips interspersed with station salaried personalities, so they only have to pay for an editor to put the show together. And Hollywood is the king of easy profit, with constantly releasing remakes. Every single company is like that, but the worst are companies masquerading as health providers, trying to convince you to shove their crap down your throat so you can empty your pockets to their profit benefit. I've only recently switched on to community TV, ABC and SBS because the profit motive is legislated out and it's great viewing, so I'd love to know what you guys on community TV think about any benefit that I may have missed in considering this superficial, commercial, profit-driven world. It comes to us from Rex, Prospect, South Australia, and that's all we have time for tonight. Steve, first to you.
Oh, thanks, Gary. Look, first of all, profit is not a dirty word. Profit is fine. There's an old saying that says, you know, that money is the root of all evil, but it's actually incorrect. It's the love of money that is the root of all evil. So if we look at profit as being a motive, it's not a problem. However, the love of profit becomes a real issue. If some time ago, when you talk about, you know, profit and entertainment, radio, TV, newspapers, I spoke to a prominent TV producer some time ago, and I was talking about the news that we get and how bad our news is on television. And he said to me, he said, you know, we have got the best television news service in the world probably. It's on SBS. And guess what? No one watches it. What we get is what we actually want and what we dictate to the media that we want. So the trash that is watched depends very much on the audience that is actually buying it.
It's a reflection of us.
Absolutely. But I will never watch a reality TV program. I think it's absolutely dreadful.
What about the news? Isn't that a reality TV program?
Well, that's different. We're talking about news. I'm talking about, you know...
So you're fussy with your reality show.
That's it. Some of the reality shows that you have, you know, The Prisoner's Kitchen or, you know, Survivor.
I don't like that one.
And, you know, Big Brother. My gosh.
That exploits. I don't like that
it's
one
absolutely
at all.
exploitative.
They're getting really tired as well these days. You know, they used to be
time.
interesting
I know.
the first time, but now they're...
And how many cooking programs are there? Except
the
Charlie's. That's a good one.
Charlie's cooking show. He'll be on next week too. Stace, what do you make of this one?
Well, I think we live in a really commercially driven society, so profit is not really a dirty word, because if we don't make profit,
You don't
we
make
won't have
anything.
anything.
It's what drives us.
Exactly, it's a driving force behind everything, and if we don't have that, we're not going to have all the opportunities for different things that are advertised or seen on TV. We just won't even know they exist.
Rex of Prospect in South Australia is a bit of a negative bugger. What he fails to talk about in all of this is that nobody forces you to buy anything.
Exactly.
And the responsibility for working out whether this stuff is good or bad is up to you, and it's your choice, I think, anyway. Lisa, what do you think?
I think bless Rex and his naive socialist leanings. But a society without profit and that motive behind it is it not a society we want to live in. You need that self-motivation, that drive to achieve something more than the person sitting next to you. But I also wonder, is Rex on the dole? Like, he's talking about not enjoying all these sort of the profit and the motivations. And well, hang on a minute. Well, what are you doing? You're just sitting around watching SBS and the community TV all the time, which I do say I love, and it is the best media on television. It is the best.
Yeah, news services.
Thank you.
Well, I think so
and
too.
like even when the recent tsunamis happened in Japan, the first thing we did was turn on to the Sky News and SBS. That did have, as you were saying, in CNN, the best news reporting. So I think at the end of the day, it is a superficial, commercially driven profit world that we live in. But unfortunately, we have to.
It, and you can pick and choose.
Yeah.
Harry,
Rex,
where's he gone wrong?
Rex, in business, you have a responsibility to make profit. It is part of what you must do, because if you don't make a profit in business, you're going against the natural will of business. Now, 24-hour news cycles, they've got to fill the news in. And as Steve said before, SBS does have the best news. My Turkish is not too good, so I've still got to understand what they're saying, but the pictures look great.
Coming along, I've got to tell you, I saw it the other
pictures do look great, and I think it's fantastic that you support community TV, and that's what we need more support of. But if you're not happy with what you're watching, switch it off.
Switch it off.
Switch on to something else.
What a dull, colourless society we would be without the profit motive.
Yep.
Could always go and live in the old days of communist Russia.
Can
What
I
were you
come
gonna
back with a quick comment?
You can.
One of the things that's been
A quick one.
absolutely incredible recently
Your time's up, sir.
has been philanthropy. Look at Bill Gates, look at Warren Buffett. What are they doing with their billions of dollars? It's coming back.
Which
Those
village is
profits
that?
are actually coming back to charity. And there's this enormous change within society of philanthropy. All these people have been highly
Everyone's
successful.
waking up.
Yeah.
You can
Even
do
Mark
good things
Zuckerberg.
with your profit. When we come back, we're talking about appropriate or inappropriate female behaviour. Don't go away. More with Sweet and Sour coming up. Ooh. Just for effect, welcome back to Sweet and Sour. If you'd like to send us a letter, send it to the address. Thank you for all the clapping. Send it to the address that's on your screen right now, which is letters@sweetandsour.net.au. It will land here, and if we like it, we're going to chat about it with the panel. And for every one that we do chat about, we're going to send you to the movies, courtesy of Natalie Cameron and NRC Communications. And the movie we're sending you to this week is, that's it, up on the screen right there, which is Potiche, starring Gerard Depardieu and Catherine Deneuve. The nerve of the woman to appear in this movie now that she's 60. No,
about toilet
terrific
training?
actors. Is it about what?
Toilet training?
No, it's about a trophy wife.
Oh.
And in fact, it's translated as trophy wife. Thank you, Paris, for that. You can have that back in a moment now. Second letter tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Hi, Sweet and Sour. What's the deal with boobs and women who use them? See, I'm going out with a new girl who, to me, just flaunts her great double Ds. You're giggling already. Whenever she can. I've seen her quickly open the button on her blouse when pulled over by traffic police and do similar when she's asking for a discount with a male shop assistant. I've even seen her stop and pretend to dust her chest when she walks into a crowded pub or restaurant just to attract attention. And what does that mean? That's like that, isn't it?
Guess so.
Yeah, okay, I get it.
Keep me abreast of what's going on.
She's a constant flirt, always walking back to me with another free drink that someone has bought for her, and a total tease as well. Don't get me wrong, I find her very sexy, but I'm also blessed with a bit of a brain, at least I hope, and I know in this age of so-called equality, males would never get away with flashing, rubbing or attempting to flaunt their crutch. So it makes me think that she behaves inappropriately. She's 29 and quite a fun girl, but is she going to be like this for the rest of her life? I took her to a work dinner where she behaved the same, and I noticed that whilst all my male colleagues had gathered around her, their partners and my female colleagues had distanced themselves from our group. Can this behaviour correct itself? Is there something I should be saying or doing here? Or do all females do this given the opportunity? And I've just never noticed. And it comes from Fremantle. Philip writes to us, and we're going to Harry first. What's the deal with boobs, Harry, and women? Do they all do it?
Mate, if I knew it'd stop me getting arrested, I'd start getting implants done. That'd be. But it's not happened for me. I think what happens is, unfortunately, we get trained very early. We get obsessed with them when we're men. And it starts from breastfeeding, and they just stay with us forever. And it's just one of those things, unfortunately. Look, she's obviously a nice-looking woman. I mean, better that she's nice-looking.
How do you know if she's nice-looking? You've never seen her face.
Don't mention her.
Well, I'll make the assumption there. Make the assumption there. Free drinks.
sexy.
There's nothing bad with getting free drinks all the time if she needs to get them. And look, what's the opposite of what you're talking about? You could end up with a woofer or something like that and get nothing, and you could
Is it appropriate behaviour? That's what he wants to know. Is she going to grow out of it? Is it appropriate for an 80-year-old to be sitting there going like that?
Well, Philip, you just need to probably have a quiet talk to her.
Don't flaunt
very
it as much.
very politely, and just have a quiet chat with her, and just maybe bring some of this behavioural patterns to her attention.
So you think there's something a little bit wrong with it?
It's definitely brushing them in public is a little bit different.
Yeah,
Sort of,
I reckon if
you
you've
know,
got
the
it,
brush-o-matic on there or something like that. It's a bit of a worry, but
Just happen to have one in my pocket at the front here.
I'm not
All right,
sure.
Lise, come on. If you've got it, flaunt it. Yes, no?
Absolutely. If you've got it, flaunt it. And, you know, she's not doing anything wrong by giving them the old brush. I mean, not all women do it,
Hopefully.
obviously. Hopefully.
Hopefully.
But he's a bit of a self-righteous goose, I think, this guy. He's, you know, who does he think he is? Putting his values and judgments on someone else.
Does he like it? But he's realising it's for public display, and you know he's a little bit jealous.
Now he's getting jealous and a little bit possessive, and if you want, you can't take responsibility for someone else's values and behaviour. It just never works ever. So let her be who she is. If it doesn't fit with you, then you guys aren't going to work. But otherwise, don't try and fix it. Don't try and change it. Just enjoy who she is, and perhaps if you're really, really not happy with it, then have a quiet word to her, but embrace the woman.
Lisa, should he buy her a dustbuster? Like, ooh, you know, I don't know. What?
Fair enough, yeah, why
Do
not?
all women do this?
No, not at all.
Don't they?
No.
Proportion of women that do this?
Very, well, I'd like to say very, very few. No, in fact, very few women would do this. I think Stacey would agree. I don't.
All right,
I was going to
Stacey.
say that only those that aren't double Ds don't do it, because I know I don't have them. I wouldn't be brushing them off or anything.
Yeah, you haven't quite got the technique there.
Can you tell?
Come on, Stace, what's she doing?
Well, Philip says that they're great double Ds to start with, so obviously he found them fantastic when he first saw them. And I don't know.
I wonder if Philip knows what she looks like.
And then now Philip, you know, then Philip's sort of saying, well, it's a bit of a worry and I'm not really sure this is appropriate behaviour, but I
It
wonder if
attracted
Philip's-
you, mate.
Well,
Yeah.
it attracted Philip. And
Yeah.
maybe if he's not happy with it, he can just have a short, you know, bit of a quiet word to her and see what she says. But don't sort of, you know, completely dampen her spirit.
All right, same question to you. Do many women that you know perform...
I think that would be the majority, the minority rather.
The
minority, because...
But the majority of women don't have double Ds.
Well, I think it's also a bit of attention-seeking behaviour.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you feel that you need to get
School kid.
attention by doing that or whatever,
Yeah.
that's what people do. But I think that's more of a little bit, maybe a little bit of a...
Is she going to
something that
grow
young-
out of it?
Well, I don't think at 29 she's probably not
No.
going to grow out of it because she's an adult.
And what's
She is
wrong
an
with
adult.
doing that anyway if she's not dressed
If
like
she's not
a tart or
hurting
behaving
anyone.
badly? If she's just bringing attention to them.
It's like a
there's
tart.
nothing
What
really
is
wrong
that?
with it.
It
Last
provides
word to a
entertainment
man.
for people
We've got to
who
have
are
a last word to a man on this one.
Well, I actually find that it's a very unusual behaviour because of all the ladies that I've known, I've never seen this behaviour. So I
Exactly.
can only agree that, you know, it really is very unusual. If he has an issue with it, he really needs to speak to her about it. You know, discuss it and say, look, darling, this is what I notice. Why do you do this? If she is doing it to be a tease, well, and that's what she wants to do, that's fine. You probably need to move on and find someone else. But, you know, if you're concerned about her doing it for the long term and how she's going to conduct herself in the future, look, don't worry about it because gravity will take care of it anyway.
Philip, send in a photo of it, will you? Or, and her email address, and we'll flash it up on our website, and we'll get all our viewers to vote on it, or male viewers anyway. When we come back, we're going to be talking about solar versus nuclear. Don't go away. We'll see you then.
I did not have sexual relations with Gary Mitchell, but after seeing Sweet and Sour, I might reconsider.
Sunny's, everybody.
health food shops.
We're just chatting here.
mate?
We're going to go straight on. Hello, panellists. Surely
what about
the
your
Japanese...
sunglasses?
Sure. Where are my sunnies? That's right. I've asked them all to put sunnies on. Well done. So when they come back from the letter, they'll see us all wearing sunnies. Surely the Japanese earthquake and the tsunami has demonstrated to the world that we're totally without the level of science and technology needed to continue with nuclear fuel as an appropriate energy source for the world. 25 years ago, when I was at university, I was completely against nuclear power. But as time moved on from the Chernobyl and 3 Mile Island nuclear accidents, these are long sentences. I believed we had developed technologies to cope with these possibilities. I kept hearing the words of pro-nuclear politicians and very little from any opposing view. With raising 3 kids, I was simply too busy to take a deeper, ongoing interest in nuclear understandings. Now I find that while our planet has had an unbelievable proliferation of nuclear power stations, the science and technologies are still back where I was 25 years ago. How could we let this happen? I can't believe with such an abundance of sunshine, Australia hasn't been at the forefront of a solar revolution in all this time. But we certainly have found the will to open wide the mining of uranium in this country. Why can't the enormous profits from the dirty energy industry be confiscated and ploughed into alternative energies? And why is it that we as a species are so keen to dabble with our extinction for the sake of a buck rather than preserve a healthy planet, not just for all of us now, but for our future generations Jeanette of Botany, New South Wales should be talking to letter one letter writer Rex of Prospect. Profits, okay. Lisa, you're first in that. Yes, we've got our sunnies on. Oh, Stacey, you haven't got yours on.
I took them off.
I believe with this wholeheartedly. I think we're so frustrated with the lack of information and the information that is out there. It's not very clear. We're told we're mining uranium and we've got these nuclear reactors, but what does it all really mean? The technologies for solar power are out there and wind power and so forth. It is there, but the profits aren't there, as we were talking before. So the motivation isn't there, as you were saying, letter one. Well done.
Solar's free.
Yeah.
That's the problem. No one's motivated to get out there and produce.
And she does share the wide-eyed, naive view that I think a lot of Australians have anyway. But when she mentions the Japanese tsunami recently as well, I think that was the oldest. That was the oldest plant in Japan, and all new reactors use convection-based approaches.
What does that mean? To a layman like me, what does that mean?
That means they all work much better than that original one that they did.
That's what they tell us anyway. But they all say that. They're going to try and reassure you.
Considering the enormity of that quake, we should be quite thankful for the fact that it did hold up relatively well compared to what it could have been. It could have been worse than Chernobyl.
Did it tell that to someone who lives in the area?
All right, we'll just change that back to the point of the letter. But I do agree. I don't think there is enough time, money and resources invested into the alternative energies like the wind and solar power and so forth. It's just disappointing and disgusting and frustrating as a society as a whole.
It is frustrating. Harry, where do you stand on this one?
Well, Jeanette, you need to go and do some research online. Buckminster Fuller is the guy you want to have a look.
I must say, Harry,
You're good there.
very nice glasses.
Thank you, thank you. I think I'm looking in the right... Is that you, Gary? You need to have a look at what's called a Dymaxion map.
A Dymaxion
map, which lays the world out flat.
Everybody's Googling as we're...
Buckminster Fuller is the guy that actually created the map, and what I think we need to do, we need a global policy with electricity where we all plug into one grid around the whole world, so that when it's dark over there and it's light over here and we need power, then they use the power and they're not using it as much. And as the earth rotates and the sun comes up, then we need to move the power around. We need to share the power.
That's a solar-based system, is it?
No, no, exactly with what we've got. We just need to be smarter with the amount of power we're using. Instead of building these things and only using them for half the time, when it's daylight, we want to move have a global power grid. So as the world, as the night and day goes around the world, the actual power follows it around.
Does power actually travel that far?
It does. It's called electricity.
No, I know that, but electricity peaks out. I've been in the situation where we wanted to get power from this place to that place, and we had a cord going, and the electrician told us it won't travel that far.
That's it. Well, we just need to refine those things.
Okay, all right. So you've come up with something else.
That's it.
Terrific. All right, Steve.
Well, the problem with Harry's idea is that they couldn't agree in Copenhagen.
Yeah, no one can agree.
How are you going to get the world to agree on something like that, Harry? That's enormous. Be a wonderful idea. But the problem that we have with solar power is that it's too expensive and people won't pay with it. We're only just now starting. We're now starting to get it becoming affordable, and you now have the electricity commissions actually paying you for producing power. So we're seeing more advertisements about it, and there's a possibility that there'll be a greater take-up of it. Electric motor cars are also too expensive. You know, when you look at the cost of a Prius compared to another Toyota motor car, people won't pay the extra because they don't believe they're going to get the return on the investment that they make. And the same thing has been happening with solar electricity. But as it changes, as it becomes more affordable, as technology improves, that will become more and more of it. However, the issue with nuclear is, you know, we've had a catastrophe that's been absolutely enormous in Japan that no one could foresee. You know, these guys have built walls that are 4 metre thick to actually avert a tsunami-like effect. It didn't work in that sort of event. No one could have foreseen it. Nuclear power in France has been there for many, many years, and if you drive around the French countryside, you see a wonderful place. You don't see any issues about nuclear power. So nuclear power can be done if it's done properly, effectively and carefully.
Yep.
Final word, Stace?
Well, I just have to agree with Steve on the affordability of solar power, because when they're expecting you to outlay $2,000, for instance, a lot of people can't do that. So if it was perhaps a cheaper alternative...
Subsidised.
Yeah, or subsidised more, and, you know, without... I mean, they're saying they're going to finish the subsidy fairly shortly, so if you haven't done it now, it's not going to happen. But if it was subsidised and they really wanted people to do it, I think people would do it, but not when they have to outlay a lot of money, which is unaffordable for lots of families.
Question to all the panel. How many of you are plugged into solar or alternative energy?
Not
Steve?
me.
We are not at the moment, but we're building a new house, and that is going to be one of the priorities that I have, is that we will have solar energy in the house.
Stacey's a no?
No.
I'm a yes.
You're a yes. What are you
will.
doing?
I got solar heating on my...
Excellent.
Yep, so we're in the process of putting in solar power.
Terrific. Well, there you go. Jeanette of Botany, New South Wales. Which letter do we like to give away the pair of limited edition sunnies? Courtesy, you should all have your glasses on at this point in time. That's why they're sitting on the table now. There you go. There's the slide up, no, the promo up there. And when we come back, we're wearing, they're tiger skin. So which one do we like? Harry, which one do you like? Number 2. Which one do you like?
Letter 1.
Number 1.
Number 1. Okay, number 1 wins it. Sorry, Harry. Coming out to Rex of Prospect, South Australia. My grandfather was always a bit of a cynic. A pair of limited edition sunnies, courtesy of Alon Treves and Aussie Opticals. Which ones do I want to take home? I don't know. Anyway, we've got to go. So, Steve, thanks for being on the panel. We'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Thanks, everyone.
Stace?
Thanks for having me.
Terrific to have you. Lise?
Been great
good
to
see
be
you.
here. Thank you.
Well, now your hair's back. And everything. Harry, so
Always
yours.
a pleasure. Always a pleasure, Gary.
Good on you. Thank all our wonderful panellists. Thanks for having us at home tonight, and thank you, crew. We'll see you next week. Good night, Australia. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.